Hi friends, Tracy.bish here, your Stampin' Up demonstrator in Central Victoria, Australia. I'm so happy to be here with you this Sunday. This is a recorded video for a change. I am away on Easter break and so I've done a pre-recorded for you. So this week's challenge is a fun fold, and this is the simplest fun fold you will ever see. It's using the Easter Friends stamp set as well as the Daffodil Daydreams bundle. Okay, so we're starting off with the Granny Apple Green cardstock. This measures half an A4, so I've just cut it down in half. I've scored it in half again, and then what we're going to do is we're going to fold and score, and then we're going to cut off 2 inches from the card front. So it's a bit of is it a panel card? I'm not really sure of the definition, but yeah, it's an easy fun fold anyway. So we're using the Flowering Fields DSP to highlight these gorgeous tulip patterns, and this is my final Easter card. I know it's Easter weekend, but this is my final Easter card, everyone. So I hope you've enjoyed my Easter projects. I love doing holiday themed projects and treats, so I've got to get in as many as I can. So hopefully you've enjoyed them over the last month. Okay, so we're just making sure that everything's good. My cutting blade's a little bit dull, so I did have to just sand the edges. So I have 2 pieces of this DSP, and it's a little bit different to the one up top because it's a gradient of colours. So the 2 pieces of DSP measure 5 3/4 by 1 7/8. So I'm going to bring in some scraps of Blackberry Bliss, Highland Heather, Granny Apple Green, Daffodil Delight, and So Saffron to do our die cuts. So we have both the daffodils as well as some little butterflies. That's what they are, butterflies. So we're going to do these really quickly. I know that there is supposed to be a white piece behind the daffodil. I don't know why I didn't do it. I've seen a few different cards using these beautiful dies, and yeah, let's just say they look more like tulips than daffodils, but it's okay. So a lot of this is die cutting. What's fun about this is we have a card that opens up and it's like floating on the card. So super cute idea. So we're just going to quickly die cut. Now I need 2 extra solid backings of those daffodils to hide the back end. So as we do that, I'm also going to do Granny Apple Green for the stems. Alrighty, so let me have a look. For the inks in this card, we're using Daffodil Delight, Granny Apple Green, Grey Granite, and Blackberry Bliss. So we're tying all those colours in from that DSP. And I've used the Easter Friends stamp set because what's more Easter than chicks and bunnies? Yeah, and daffodils or tulips, whichever you prefer. Okay, so I'm adding some glue dots here, and I've rolled them up just slightly so they don't, you can't see them from the other side. And this gives it that little bit of dimension as well by rolling them and sticking the those pieces so they're so saffron down onto Daffodil Delight. I can speak. Okay, so once we have those all ready to go, we're also going to attach the stems of the stems on the back, and then we can put our extra backing to hide those backs of stems for the card. So it makes sense. There's no way of actually putting it on the detailed version without it seeing through. Well, I couldn't work it out anyway. So here we are. We're just going to add a little bit of liquid glue to the back piece, and we're ready to go. We're gluing these down onto one piece of that DSP, and then we can pop it down on that flap. So this way they are secured in, and I've left the stems quite long because the more they are actually supported, the more the card won't droop or will have any issues. So let's bring in, what we're going to do, just trying to think whether I'm doing stamping first or popping the card together. Let's do stamping. So I have, I think smoky slate, could be grey granite. I'll have a look in just a second. I say that's grey granite. Yes, grey granite. I did say that ink before. We're going to stamp some chicks in the Daffodil Delight. And I'm actually stamping them off the edge. All good. And then we're going to bring the Granny Apple Green in and just add a little bit of the grass. And on my sample version, I do have the Happy Easter sentiment in Memento, but I changed it to the Blackberry Bliss, so it sort of ties in a little bit better. So here we are, we've got Granny Apple Green for our leaves. On my sample, I did stamp off to make it a little bit softer. I don't think it really matters. Okay, so not a lot of stamping on this card. We're going to glue this inside the card. Now, if you want to do a lot of writing, I would suggest writing on the back of this card. Otherwise, you're going to see everything. Now, the reason we're popping the card in first is because I want to have good placement of my daffodils. And for that, it makes it easier if we have our bunny in place, because we don't want to put a daffodil right in front of the bunny's face. So I've put a strip of tear and tape down, and this is where I'm going to work out where I would like my daffodils. And as you can see, this stem goes a little bit over. We're just going to cut that end off. But because the stem goes all the way down the DSP, gives it that extra support. So we're just popping them down. I want them at different levels because flowers aren't all at the same level. Gives it a little bit of extra interest as well. And you don't want it to be over the page, over the card too much. Once we have our fourth one down, perfect. I'm going to make sure that those stems are just cut off a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit more tear and tape down. You want to make sure that it's glued really well. You don't want those daffodils to come up. And I'd probably go overboard, but it's up to you how much you use. I really like that my cards are not going to fall apart before someone keeps them for a couple of years at least. Alright, so we're gluing that down to that front flap. We've got another piece that we're going to glue on the inside. You could leave it plain if you would like. I think this just looks super cute and really ties it all in together. And lastly, we're going to have a couple of butterflies. I'm going